Hey y'all, I do believe it is May the 8th, 2020, and we are live. I do believe on the internet right now, and we're getting all geared up. In fact, we are all geared up on this end. I'm going to give y'all some time, catch up, you know what I'm saying? Ease into this devastating broadcast as pronounced on the title of this here video. I do think it is going to be devastating. I know that y'all probably have so many questions to ask me, like um, what do you call it, my AWOL, my absence. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things and learned a lot of things, man. There's so much stuff that over this week I haven't been live streaming that I've just been soaking in. I know you've been soaking it in too. Rest assured, we've probably been soaking in most of the same things. We're soaking in the same bubble bath right now of information. I see there's somebody up in the building and I appreciate it. All right. Looks like we're going to have a hell of a Friday night. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if people are still locked up or, I think people are doing some stuff. I get the weird feeling that people are doing some stuff on Friday night. I don't know what they're doing or where they're doing it at. And typically I never know because I always go to work and stuff like that. I got to be responsible, right? I wouldn't know anyways. But I wonder if people are out there doing their thing. And I wonder what you're doing, what's happening in your particular area. We do have what it takes to dive into, like I said, a little bit of devastation if you want to. I wasn't very prepared for this broadcast. I want to explain. There's so many things that we could talk about to no end, obviously, that have happened. Like, for example, one thing comes to mind, Nova Scotia, right, which a lot of people hadn't even heard about. And I can't say that I've heard much about it, but what I have heard about it is stupid. Very stupid, all right? But I was off doing some other things just recently. Before the broadcast, I actually woke up a little bit early, and I strolled on down to the Target. I was a little bit dismayed. A little bit dismayed because there was, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe the same amount of people. I was expecting more people would not have a mask on. But I think it was the same amount of people that I went to Target today, and I saw just maybe a handful of people who looked alive, by the way. And I gotta say, it could all just be coincidence, but a lot of people who I saw with the wearing the masks and stuff, they're all breathing heavily. They're all slouched over. They're all not exactly, they're obese, like they're not unobese. Right? Because we're talking about San Antonio. A lot of people not be familiar. You have to live in certain parts of damn Mississippi or Alabama to even understand what the heck I mean by a lot of people are fat, big old fat people here in San Antonio, and they're gonna get it, right? I think everybody's figured out that what this whole virus hoax, whatever you call it, it does tend to attack fat people, just like you would imagine it would attack like everything else would do, and elderly people and immunocompromised people. Like, none of this is new. Anyways, but I wanted to dive in because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't very prepared. I do want to show you something. It's going to be in reference. Well, you know what? I'll wait till, I'll give it a second because I do want to show you something. But, we're going to actually lay the foreground. Google's going to help us do it. When I say devastating, I mean because right before I went on the broadcast, I checked out Google. It's like, maybe they're going to have something for us. Maybe one or two things. And then the more that I looked at, the more I was just like, they're just like trying to twist the knife. They got the knife in and they're trying to twist it. All right, but on Rabbi Brenda, our very dear co-host, for this evening, probably every evening, prior, and who knows into the future, but Brenda, she says hi. Hello to you, Brenda. I was just watching your previous video when you came on. I was blessed to go to the mountains for the past couple of days and nights. Cabins, a creek, they got arrowheads and stuff, all discovering, all up in the dirt and finding little arrowheads and stuff. That's history, that's culture. And a lot of people find that to be very precious. And, you could consider it useful because they did use the arrowheads. Oh, man, I noticed, and sometimes you notice this, and I think everybody notices this, Sometimes we take steps away from the dang internet, and you can't find us for a little while. And I believe that everybody else who's on the internet collectively celebrate, and they're kind of joyous for that person, because that person's probably taking a step back and just taking it easy and not even doing nothing and going to a cabin, going to a creek. Look at that arrowheads and stuff, man. Being at one with nature and stuff like that. Oh man, see, that's what people are doing out there to get very healthy. It's like an ancient tradition of things that people do, and nobody has to tell them to do it. Think the government ever had to come and say, "Hey, you need to go out and get the sun and fresh air, or else we're gonna arrest you"? All right. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of this devastation, and then I'll show you what I have to show you. All right. This is nuts, says Ted Cruz. He slams San Antonio, SA, which stands for San Antonio City Council, over coronavirus hate speech. And that was actually from the San Antonio Express News. I don't want to do too much tapping around, but the thing is, you might have seen it before. And if you haven't, multiple publications were talking about it. I know it's the Daily Mail that's talking about it. All right, it isn't that a UK publication? All the way across the pond, they're talking about it. Ted Cruz, Simon, San Antonio, and their city council on a decision, some sort of resolution that they made on Thursday, just like while whispering to each other in city council. And I don't know what the hell a resolution means. Look, I don't know what anything means unless you're coming with some sort of punishment, some sort of alleged punishment. Is there going to be a punishment for, well, what is it that they're talking about? Coronavirus hate speech. I got to know that that's any sort of ambiguous set of words that they don't like, right? But more specifically, if you were to get to the heart of the matter, you could not say China virus. You cannot say the Kung flu, among other things that you might kind of be variations of that. Can't do that. Can't do that because some sort of a resolution. Now, like I said, I don't had no idea what that means. All right? Unless you're getting at me with some sort of punishment, I don't know what that means. So, what are you trying to say? Are you going to try to arrest somebody for saying China virus? Is that like some resolution for the nation that y'all got conjured up? Or are you just saying that for San Antonio, inside San Antonio city limits? You can't say China virus together? Kind of interesting. Here's the thing. Before we go any further, I do happen to know that InfoWars, one Owen Schroyer, and I believe Alex Jones do plan to make their way to San Antonio. I don't think they've done it yet, but they do plan to make their way to San Antonio in order to, I guess, just bust out megaphones and just say China virus, China virus, China virus until, they get hoarse in front of the government buildings. I assume that's what. And the thing is, it got me thinking. Actually, just recently, it's like I don't know how expensive those megaphones are, or how much a good quality megaphone is, but it's got me thinking a lot more and more. I've never been the type, but it's got me thinking a lot more and more how good of an investment that would be, a big old megaphone, just because. All right. But here's the thing. This one I want to show you. Even before InfoWars probably gets here, I'll have you know that this sign's going to be out and about probably, I would imagine, tomorrow morning. All right. For everybody to see it. I hope that's big enough to get somebody arrested if that is indeed what you're talking about. All right. And actually let the space a little bit over there to the side. I'm going to see if I can't print Ron Nierenberg's damn face on there. Excuse me, his handsome face on there. I misspoke. But you know what the face that I'm talking about. Like, here, I'll show you like we've seen before. Ron Nierenberg. I'm going to put his face on there. And I think it's going to be very crucial. It's going to make a lot of sense. Here's the thing. I don't want to mess up what's already on Google. So we're going to go the back way. All right. On Chrome. All right. We're going to fool the Googles. The Google robots. All right, so Ron Nierenberg, because a lot of people don't know who I'm talking about, and I want to remind you, because yes, he is very humdrum. He's so forgettable. that is amazing, right? And you might forget about it, but he wants you to forget about it. He wants you to forget about his face. Meanwhile, his face all over the place, man, here in San Antonio. Can't get away from it. Let's see. Let's see if we catch his image. That's him working out in case you want to watch that. He wants to show you how he takes his, I don't know what you call it, his quarantine or isolation, self isolation. That's him with the rainbow behind him for some reason. No, gosh dang it. If I type in, say, Ron Nierenberg, COVID, they keep giving me this picture, and I see it every day of my life, right? And it's very depressing. And it has a lot to say about vibes, right? Like, for example, I always see him putting on different various masks and stuff. And he's always fiddling with this mask. And every day it's the same pose and stuff, but it might be different masks. It's like, dude, did they green screen a mask onto you? What's the point of this? Alright, they're not going to show me that. But you're seeing the pictures of him, alright? I had to explain who this is. It's a Mexican version of Obama, alright? It's as if Dennis the Menace grew up and became a Mexican, alright? And it's unfortunate. But I don't want to get too sidetracked right now because there is some sort of stuff on Google that I did want to show you, right? So hopefully it didn't mess it up. First of all, you got Ted Cruz, and he's speaking out against it. It's like, damn, dude, yet again, I had to join Ted Cruz in speaking out against damn San Antonio. And me, just like everybody else around the nation, has been hearing about this. I'm very upset with San Antonio, and it's disgusting. And these people stole the election, and they're rampant criminals. And he's got this green energy deal or whatever that he's got all sort of boondoggling. And, oh man, he's going to buy into every single bit of this virus, hate speech, pandemic that we're undergoing. Meanwhile, I want to show you this because this is only part of some of the stuff that I've been hearing over this past week. Right? Beautiful but dangerous. This is just a headline that I first seen. It's 9 hours ago. Beautiful but dangerous. Blue dragons discovered on Texas beach are rare find. Now, I haven't read into any of this, right? But right, I don't know why this is coming out. Everything is so dangerous now. I know you've heard of these murder hornets. I heard of them a long time ago, and I laughed about it. And then, like 4 or 5 days later, the news started talking about it, and it's like really eerie when that happens, and it keeps happening, right? So Brenda said this about the Asian flu. She said, "What can we call the Asian or Spanish flu?" Because she's, I don't know what you can do outside of the San Antonio city limits, or what in the world this resolution even means. In fact, we might even take a look to see if there's any documents behind this here resolution, right? Before we get out of here. But Brenda says, what? Can we call it an Asian or Spanish flu? What about the Logorates? What about the Logoretes? Or however it's spelled disease? I don't know. Said, are you allowed to call him crazy? Or a little Hitler? I don't think you're allowed to do any of that, all right? That's against public interest. Brenda, I'm going to need you to pipe down and stuff because everything that you're saying is very hateful, and it comes from a hateful place. And you're just going to rub off on everybody else, and we're all going to be all some right-wing supremacists. Okay? But there's other stuff like, okay, I don't want to spin off in too much of a weird web. All right, here's something that ties in, because look, a dangerous blue dragon, they're gonna get you. Don't go to the beach. Don't go to the beach. We got dangerous blue dragons. Can't be there. And then check this out. Watch praying mantis eats a murder hornet's face. Yeah, that's right. The age. Now they're calling it a murder hornet. Meanwhile, it was a wasn't it Chinese Asian. It was some sort of Chinese murder hornet from day one. Now it's just a murder hornet. And it becomes Twitter's new hero. It's like just so disgusting. Y'all are just, I mean, not us out here, but some people get off to this. Like they're like, oh yeah, this bug's eating that bug. It's gonna save the day. It's gonna eat Donald Trump and save America and burn America down at the same time. Some reason. Gretchen Whitmer's chilling call with the White House. It must have been so damn chilling, dude. Every time I see her, I get chills, and I do mean it. Like. Ah, man, I gotta say, that's a scary person to see in a dark alley. Coronavirus found in, I can't even say these words, but the coronavirus is found all over the place. Of COVID survivors and sexual transmission is unclear. What's unclear to me is how did y'all come across this? What do you just stumble across this stuff? And you're like, oh, you might as well test this. Oh, dang. Are you a COVID survivor? Oh, well, we're going to test this real quick. If you can ask. It's like, dude, I can imagine a scientific atmosphere in which you requested, like, oh, you survived COVID? Oh, man, all right. We saved your life, and this is so amazing and stuff. Can you please give us some of your semen, please? We need it for research. I mean... I mean, it goes on and on. But check this out. Actually, like I said, kind of devastating. This is kind of weird. This is weird and wild stuff. But woman accused of kidnapping child setting off Amber Alert. Wanted by deputies. Now, I got to tell you, when you see this woman's face that was put on blast by Google, they couldn't even hardly got more of a close-up of this lady's face. So they put her on blast. And this is only from something like yesterday. This is local news. The Brett County Sheriff's Office needs help finding Sherry McGill, 49, who's wanted for kidnapping. Right? Ultimately, the truth is, this is none of our damn business. Number one, you're putting her face all over the place. Did she or did she not kidnap this child? And I got a weird feeling that you're BSing about it anyways. That's why you put her face on blast, trying to incriminate this lady. I don't know if this lady did or did not do this. And maybe she did, maybe she didn't. And guess what? It's even more crucial is that it's none of my particular business. Alright? So you got the most stereotypical looking lady right here, and I'm supposed to like hunt her down or something like that. Or everybody in San Antonio is supposed to know her business or know this business in order to catch her so we can help y'all catch a little old lady because you're that incompetent? Because you're that busy or something? Like releasing all the prisoners from jail? Right? It is a cartoon. It sounds like a cartoon, what I'm describing. Right? Put her face on blast. Oh, we need your help. Yeah, I bet you do need our help. I bet you need all sort of help. Right? Alabama mail carrier becomes unlikely TikTok sensation. I mean, honestly, dude. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's another thing that I saw, too, that I was going to point out, but I think Google went ahead and refreshed on me, and I forget where it is. See, this was a face that I was trying to find earlier, all right? Look at this face, all right? Imagine it's being subjected to this man's face, and it's the same picture every single day of your life. It's going to pop up regardless of how you feel about it. And it's like, dude, I got to... See, the only way to get it to stop popping up is if I just stop getting San Antonio news altogether. And that's pretty messed up. Look at this evil ghoul goblin Keebler elf looking dude behind him. Those folks are running San Antonio, whether or not you like it or not. Alright? And certain words that they got a resolution against, even though I have no idea what that means. Right? So that's the end of that. And there was some more news, but I forgot. Okay, but I want to take it back to this before we press on. Oh, there was, and I do remember, okay, from this lady. It's like, I have no idea what's the story with this lady. And absolutely, should her face not be posted on the front of Google? That's unbelievable. But, by the way of WLAI and stuff, they put her on blast, and it's pretty unbelievable. But, shoot, I wanted to reference that. And then to come back to this before we press on further, because I might forget about this. It's amazing the what you call it, propaganda, alright? Especially in certain places, but I gotta imagine it's like varied across the country and across the world. Certain propaganda is trying to scaremonger you into staying inside. It's like, wow, first of all, we got murder hornets that are supposed to kill people within one sting. And you should probably stay inside if you want to get attacked by the murder hornets. But now we got praying mantises, and they're hopping all on murder hornets and eating them. It's like, oh, that might sound scary. Right? Meanwhile, over here, just like I seen breaking news, now we got a beautiful, dangerous blue dragon. Dangerous creature is going to come kill you. Right? So stay off the beach, right? That makes sense. But not only that, what Google didn't bring up right now, and it's funny. It's funny, like it's a comedy and stuff. But at a certain point, it's like, damn, dude, I'm done laughing. I'm done laughing. So they're talking about these murder hornets up there, and first of all, this supposed hoax virus thing is like all over Washington State, for example. All right, more so New York, New Jersey, but they got their fair share in Washington State, right? So Washington State, not only do they have murder hornets coming in from Asia, Washington, look, Washington State now has another bug to worry about, other than the murder hornets. That's right, the gypsy moths. See, at a certain point, it's like it's a funny joke until you beat it to death. You overuse it. I think that's what we're seeing and stuff. Brenda, I just saw, I think it was Brenda, she just said in the comments to save the bees. And I would totally agree, actually, to be honest with you. And I gotta tell you, in my garden and stuff, and it's throughout all gardens, bees are gonna come, right? You expect bees. And so you gotta learn to just be cool with the bees, because there's certain things that honestly you could do and it would offend them. And they might try to attack you and stuff, but if you just kind of like sit there, they're not gonna do anything. And it's pretty good. They fly around the garden and they do their dang thing. And everybody's been talking about since for over a decade, well over a decade now. They've been saying, hey, look, all our practices are messing up the bees, and we're messing them up. We need to stop or kill them. This needs to stop because they help with the pollination. Of course, so do birds and stuff, I believe. So does the wind and stuff, but bees have a lot to do with some stuff, and I would agree. It would say the bees. It's interesting how those, and from what I found, the simple answer is to save the human beings is the same thing as to save the bees, right? Because we kind of correlate that way. And if we're not messing with each other, I mean, dude, they give us honey and everything else. It's like, how ridiculous is that? I mean, how much evidence do you need to know that that's your best friend? Because when they create honey for no good reason. All right, so saving the bees, and yeah, man, maybe there's going to be these invasive creatures and stuff, these murder hornets that are coming in on Asian boats, or I don't know how the heck they fly over the ocean. I don't know, but it could all even be propaganda, and not everything is fear mongering. We already know that it is fear mongering. Obviously, you would want to know your surroundings. So, and Rabbi Brandon says, when I was little, the killer bees were coming from Texas. And I kind of remember that a little bit too. When I was littler, there was perhaps more talk of the killer bees back then, and sometimes even Africanized bees, which caused a terrible racial rift in all of America, and we still have not gotten over it. The Africanized bees. It's ridiculous, right? Brenda says they were coming from Texas. For real. She says, I remember hearing about it. But see, somebody along the way wound up blaming it on Africa. It's called them Africanized. It's like, how do you become Africanized? But anyways, said I remember hearing about it. Maybe on the news, then they playing outside and being afraid that the killer bees were coming from Texas. Perhaps. That's true, and there's a little. See, the thing is, that might be a situation where it's a little bit of truth to that as well, and that some people have got attacked by bees to their death. Like that has happened, and I can imagine it happening. I know full well how it would happen, and it happens, but even then, very rare, kind of rare. Because like I said, if you're like familiar with the bees, you just gotta know to not threaten their lives and stuff, and they'll play it cool typically. But sometimes, like I guess a loud lawnmower, this and that, rustling around, you hit a tree or something, and they're like, they went all crazy. But I don't know if that was to keep people inside. I don't know if that was to do that or just to be sensational and see if they couldn't drum up something sensational besides actually diving into truthful matters back then, right? And it's gotten us to the point where I can't even believe that there's 4 people up in the building. That's amazing. I appreciate that, but it's gotten us to the point where the news is totally off the wall, ridiculous, and absurd, and it's hypnotic to certain people, I guess, old people who watch it. It's real bad, and it's meant to be sensational. We already knew that, right? I think we already knew that. So I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly where we go from here, right? We got Gypsy Moth. We got all this sort of fear mongering. I've laid out before, people can do whatever they want. They're free to do whatever they want, right? But sometimes it's very interesting to note that the people who are looking out for your safety right now, by shutting you the hell up and taking away all your businesses, those people also participate in wild, sloppy, wet, disgusting orgies. And I don't know if I could say that on YouTube, but with all sort of their male prostitute friends, and sometimes they're drag queens or drag clowns. All right, I forget what it is. I mean, there's so much on the table. All right, it's kind of overwhelming. It's kind of blustering, but might as well talk about this, y'all, because I don't know much about this, but I was looking into it just earlier. So we have a brief broadcast and stuff. All right, we got a little bit more time, so might as well share this. What's this? And before we get into it, the Nova Scotia thing, and I imagine only some people know about it. Before we get into it, it didn't make such a wild splash, I don't feel, or I could be mistaken, in regards to certain other mass shootings, such as Parkland, all right, or the other one, Sandy Hook, and this and that, and certain mass shootings, right? I don't think it made a splash, and then it's like, I don't know if anybody's heard about this. I want to get confirmation that anybody else has heard about this. All right, I know I saw Faith Goldie on the internet the other day, and she's talking that hot fire. Shout out to Faith Goldie, if anybody's in Canada. See, the thing is, I know nothing about what this situation is, right? All I know is I heard, okay, this is what I know, and it's what I heard, that there's a shooting in Canada, some sort of legislation, they can't have sporting rifles, if I'm not mistaken, and we're going to find out. Maybe I'm totally mistaken. But this is what I was hearing. They can't have sporting rifles because of this person done a mass shooting in Nova Scotia, and it killed like over a dozen people into the teens. That amount of people was killed, and now they can't have their rifles. That's all I know, right? And actually, last night I was like reading some of it, and I honestly couldn't even I was trying to read it to get a gist, like what happened, where did this happen, what's the alleged story here, and I couldn't even barely follow it. I don't know about y'all. I don't know if it's worth it. All right, but I guess since we're here, let's find out a little bit about it. Nova Scotia is a province. I don't even know about that. I want to know about that. I don't know anything about Nova Scotia, to be honest with you. All right. Nova Scotia reports 2 more deaths at Northwoods, only 1 new case of COVID. What the hell? I was talking about a shooting. Isn't that? Wait, hold on. Plans to slowly lift COVID restrictions. Nova Scotia, schools will not reopen this year. What the hell? So that's in the news. What? Yeah, I'm talking about this. Widower of Nova Scotia shooting. Victim files class action lawsuit against gunman's estate. Gosh, dude, I don't even know if we had time to go down that sort of rabbit hole. Some weird personal stuff about it. But see how, okay, they're supposedly... Alright, we're going to back up, and we're going to type in Nova Scotia mass shooting in a second. That way we can filter out all the rest of this. But what the hell is this? Why are y'all talking all about this? I thought your big thing was mass shootings and stuff. Shouldn't that be on the top page? Right? Shouldn't it be like Parkland and be everything you talk about for 5 weeks? Or am I tripping? Sometimes I wonder if maybe maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and maybe I dreamt it up. I don't know if any of y'all out there sometimes be thinking like, maybe I'm tripping. All right, Canada bans, if I'm not mistaken, assault weapons in the wake of a deadly mass shooting on 1 week ago. And if I'm not mistaken, and I might be, assault weapon means sporting rifle, obviously. Obviously. So 9 out of the 22 victims of the Nova Scotia rampage died in fires set by the gunman, says investigators. See, that's the part where it's like, I don't know. I gotta, it's kind of tough because, in one hand, you got a situation where it's like, okay, this thing seems to have a lot of details which are wild, right? And my curiosity wants to kind of dive into it a little bit. But at the same time, just like my 100% hoaxers out there know, and God bless them, wouldn't that be a waste of time anyways? And that's honestly my feeling. It's just from an honest perspective. From a person who's been right there and I've been looking at this sort of stuff and being like, it sparks my curiosity. Now at this point, I'm thinking, wow, is it even worth reading about? Can you think about that kind of mindset? It's like 5 years ago, yeah, it would have been worth reading about. Is it worth reading about? Nah, probably not. Did it happen? It's none of my business. Quite honestly. Nothing to do with me. But at the same time, they're banning guns, which does have something to do with me because the way that works is there's a ban by proximity, and then that you start banning stuff over there, and pretty soon you're gonna want to start banning stuff over here. And no, I don't appreciate it, and I don't appreciate the collusion with communist China, if I'm not mistaken. And I could be mistaken, but I'm just not even concerned even with this shooting, Harley. Thing is, it got confusing because some people were like set on fire, like some people were, I don't know, some people were stabbed and then like set on fire their house or something. Like, dude, it seems as though there is different, and I don't know if up in the comments, I don't know if you have a. It's like I don't even want to read these articles, but you might have like a summary, a synopsis of what happened. I don't know what happened, but allegedly this person went from place to place and like it. I mean, maybe this was a little small town and wasn't very many people there and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, it's none of our business. They're saying all these details, but none of it was our business. And they were like, look, in this small town, this guy, he went on a rampage, and he must have had a sporting rifle or something, but also he burned down buildings and did all sort of other stuff. And he was running around, and he seemed to be unstoppable, at least for this spree. And then they finally stopped him. I don't know how. And I don't even know anything about it. And as far as the gun smoke hasn't even settled, it's pretty damn fast how. Wait, I mean, what did you say? You said Canada bans it. Canada banned it? Like, you can't have it in Canada right now. That's what you're saying. I wonder how many people have it right now. I wonder how much you're trying to, like, push your luck. Right? I wonder how desperate, like, is that the most desperate that you could possibly look? Right? Meanwhile, everybody with any kind of sense has already came to the conclusion, whatever it is their theories are about life and about the world, is that it's like, first of all, don't trust y'all at all. But secondly, if it's none of my business, then it's none of my business. Why the hell are you telling me this? I don't need to know this because it's none of my business. Right? And then I'm supposed to be emotionally moved by y'all's video presentations and your propaganda in order to bend myself over a barrel and not have no rights and take away all my children's rights because, oh, something bad happened over here. Well, I don't care what happened over there. First of all, I don't believe it happened over there. I believe you're making up every last word of it, and it's actually on you to prove to me that that's not the case. All right? Meanwhile, I'm not even entertained. So I don't know what you're saying. and you're gonna make some laws over that. And the thing is, I've seen Canada over the past few years, especially, and I've grieved for Canada, and in that they seem like they're under some sort of, I mean, they're bent over backwards and stuff for this Justin Trudeau and stuff. He's just having his way, like having his way all over everybody. And meanwhile, I imagine lots of Canada are under this here lockdown or whatever, and criminality's going up, and there's more and more reason to want to have a gun, and Justin Trudeau's letting out prisoners all over Canada, right? I don't know if that's a problem for y'all out there. It brings to mind actually this one article that was up on my Google feed, but then it disappeared, all right? Totally sabotaging my broadcast. But it was talking about San Antonio in particular, and I would imagine, of course, it's a taste of what can be found all over the nation, all over the world, and we got to know that this is happening right now. For better or for worse, we know what's going on. Alright? What you gonna do about it? San Antonio, let's see this. What if I type in child abuse? I wonder what pops up in the news if it was something that I seen earlier. Could very well be. Well, let's see. From 5 days ago, 3 children in critical condition found severely malnourished in Wilson County home. Well, it's alright. Child abuse is on the rise during COVID-19. Here's how you can help. This is according to San Antonio News. I'm looking for a particular article, and it's just recent. Abuse hotline calls down 27%. Alright, so get that statistic. Abuse hotline calls down 27%, which these hotlines, unfortunately, they don't really make a dent in the whole culture of child abuse. But abuse hotlines calls down 27% as experts worry that kids are suffering in silence. Oh, man. I'm getting some messages about David Icke. I gotta look into that. Alright, David Icke's making some crazy good moves and stuff like that. And some people become larger than life. Some of us 100% hoaxers out there, you just don't have it in us to trust anybody. But I like to back certain people, such as David Icke, and I like it. Right? Are there lizard people? You might as well be lizard people. That's all I know. But abuse hotline calls 27. So people are worrying that kids are suffering in silence. So it's like, yeah, of course they are, right? But that's kind of it's so weird because, yeah, I predicted it just like you probably predicted it from day one. Said, okay, abuse is going to go up. And domestic violence, that's going to go up. That's obviously going to be a circumstance of this here supposed lockdown, right? And so, it does go up, all right? And they're noticing that it does go up. So it's like we predicted it. And now, okay, it's going to continue to happen, right? And it's still a problem. But that's not going to be considered by the people out there who's still going gung-ho for this here lockdown, right? And I'll have you know if you haven't seen it out there, because we haven't seen it in the Google feeds necessarily, but there's a whole bunch of constituencies of people who want to stay home and don't want to work, right? In many different sectors here in this nation, and I can assume in other nations, it's probably happening. Or I don't know. Certain nations, it's not happening, like Sweden and stuff, for some reason. But there's a whole bunch of constituencies of people who want to stay home, and they don't want to work because they're very afraid. They're very, very afraid. Some people are in such bad health that they should very well be afraid. But a lot of us are not, and so we can go out in public, and we do so, especially now. It's the season to do it, and to get healthy and have fresh air, just like Brenda. Go in a cabin and live like a king, basically, or a queen. Right? And so, okay, so meanwhile, they're locking us down into all sort of poverty. I forget where I was going to go with it, but the thing is, of course, the violence is going to go up. All sort of lives are going to be messed up and tarnished and ruined. And even at the same time, all sort of lives behind the scenes, if you will, in the third world, in places where they're very poor, in slums here in America, they're starting to get less and less and less and less. And now they got to stand in food bank lines and beg for food and stuff in order to just stay alive. Right? So you can imagine the unbelievable toll that it's taking right now. Okay? And so, like, my mind's kind of all over the place and stuff, but honestly, it brings to mind something that was talked about earlier. I was over there checking out some of the recent videos from Maitre Mark over there on YouTube. Okay, in fact, we might as well go there. Let's navigate there right now, right? And just check it out because some of his recent videos have been just, sitting back contemplating, sometimes having a fireside chat. I don't know what this is. All right. But he brought up the interesting idea because everybody's free to have their own theories. And I definitely encourage that because I like hearing other people's theories. Even if they are wild and stuff, sometimes I like to hear them and bounce them around in my head. All right? That's fun for me. Okay? So everybody has all sort of different theories. And one theory that I've heard is that's been going around is, well, I kind of made a reference to this a while back, but it's the theory that there was going to be some sort of 3-day shutdown. Now, for all the people who might come through my channel who are familiar with like the QAnon drops, and stuff like that, they might be more familiar, but I don't have much of an idea of that. But they started talking about, a lockdown, a grid down period of this and that calamity going on while the grid is down and stuff like that for a 3-day period in order to get all the pedophiles. All right. And I heard that and it didn't make any sense. So I did have to interject on that. But I would say, even though it's just an opinion thing, what's more probable is the scenario of 3D, 4D, 5D chess, of people doing these here deals and stuff, and behind the scenes actions taking place, a power struggle, if you will, behind the scenes, of people who actually want America to thrive and everybody the rest of the world, and people who are in it's like a devastating last throes, right? And they're sprinkling viruses on us and they're doing this and that. It's okay. So the reason I bring it up is Maitre Mark was talking about a lot of things, right? Social distancing, of course, being the new normal, predictive programming. And he's having fireside chats, which is very natural and stuff. It's good to get around a fire if you can, but if you can't, sometimes people will do where they'll make a video of them talking and it'll be by a fireside, and it's very primal. And if you can set the atmosphere, it's actually real nice, right? Okay, but he was talking about perhaps Donald Trump being the wiser and using this whole calamity, although it's not a calamity that he orchestrated or had any part in, taking it and judo moving it into being able to sweep up all sort of what you would call deep staters. Man, this soda pop's good. I got a virtual soda pop, but it's making my mouth all sticky. Okay, it's talking about Virgil's, by the way. I mean, I recommend it, alright? And they didn't pay me to say that, but they should. Virgil's root beer, especially, if you get a chance. But the thing is, with the deep staters, okay, it could be happening. Yeah, it could be happening. And in fact, there is evidence on the surface that would point to that sort of thing, man. And Donald Trump's rhetoric, it's like, I don't know exactly what he said today, but it always seems to be hot fire. A lot of people, of course, think that it's coming up short, and in fact, in action, especially, it's coming up short. Perhaps it is. And that's why you got to wonder about what's happening behind the scenes. Regardless, something is happening behind the scenes. Whether or not we have an accurate vision of what that is, for sure something's going on behind the scenes. It's not exactly what it looks like and stuff, obviously. Right? What I wanted to interject is I don't know what's going on, and perhaps it is some sort of thing in which, like, for example, Mark brought up that he thought that he heard the theory that okay, the deep staters, if you will, just to be very simple, they dropped the virus and it was killing a bunch of people. It's a bad virus, and meanwhile, the white hatters or the Donald Trump, the good guys, that's what they call them, the trumpeters, they came and then behind the scenes they inoculated basically everybody by spreading a similar virus. Right, and Lord knows there's been different variations been found on this virus. Right, so the evidence would kind of it would corroborate that theory. Right, so they dropped a similar virus and inoculated everybody, and we're talking about November, probably before November. I mean, with people playing these games, it's like all these people so hypnotized playing these games. It's like since before November, obviously everybody has some sort of anecdote to share about either them being sick or somebody else being sick in a weird Chinese style way. See, that's hateful though. There's a resolution against me saying that sort of thing. But I don't know if it's going to hold up. All right. They might hand me $1,000 fine. It's all right. But, all right. So that could be happening. Could be happening. All right, but let's imagine that it's happening, in which the deep staters were tricked and fooled into showing their hands. Like, for example, Bill Gates. And for example, Dr. Fauci, in fact, he was let to be, he thought, see, Dr. Fauci gets up and he thinks, oh man, I'm going to get this, I'm going to see this through, this little operation that we've had in mind for decades. Oh, and Donald Trump's just going to let me do it, that fool idiot, that stupid fool idiot. Meanwhile, it would make sense that Donald Trump would want to put you on TV to pretty much give you all the rope that you need to do whatever you want with it, and you're doing it right now. You've been doing it. And this Judy I can't, but everybody knows who it is. Judy Mikovits. Alright, and oh, it's just going to keep coming. Thing is, it's going to be painfully obvious either way. Whether or not Donald Trump acknowledges it, it's going to be painfully obvious who is trying to do what. All right, especially before November. Okay, so I was thinking now this all, and we're talking about 180 some odd days, right? So we're gonna see this come to fruition before you know it. I mean, you ever like just look back in the past 6 months and be like, damn, dude, I just did that real quick. Okay, that's what it's gonna feel like 6 months from now, and it's gonna be like, oh shoot, that just happened. Now, what's that going to look like? The thing is, it looks like no matter what it looks like, it's gonna look extreme. Whatever that's gonna look like, it's gonna be extreme. Because no way does Donald Trump skate into glory, if you will, without some sort of repercussions or some sort of accountability or something. Or on the other hand, you could have the deep staters, the Bill Gates, the communist Chinese agents, and this and that, the Nancy Pelosi's, and they're gonna somehow wait for people to come back online, start living their lives like they normally naturally do. It's not even a political thing. People just like to go outside, and they're gonna try to squash that by dropping some more diseases. Right? I'd be hard pressed to find anything. What else they could possibly do? Right? See, we're so desensitized to their news, and we already know that they're faking it all over the place. Like, for example, I would think that they just did that thing in Canada with this Nova Scotia. Be it a real organic incident or not, they went ahead and went to town with that because they could in Canada. And meanwhile, what you should notice is that they don't stand a chance to do that in America. Not right now. Because, see, they kind of like, they're agitating the bear a little bit too much for that right now. Right? People, I mean, when gun sales are through the roof in America, which they have been, well, I don't think you're banning anything. Not right now. So you could have these, for example, the mass shootings that, a little while back they were being hyped up. It's not gonna happen now. Yeah, I don't think it would benefit them. That's why they're not even going that way and stuff. So they could pull it off in Canada, but it's not gonna happen here in America because it's gotten to the point where we've already seen all your stuff, man. And we already know that you're a liar. We already know y'all are all transgender somehow, lizard people. I mean, and so we understand that, right? And so of course, when the next gun thing happens, but there's still, and this is a period, I guess, just to get out of here and stuff. This is a period, a short period, in which we're going to see the results. We're going to know full well where we stand, where Donald Trump stands, where America stands at that point. Come November, there's going to be some extreme results. All right, but in the meantime, okay, the point that I was getting at with Donald Trump and this whole thing is okay, Donald Trump could be having like some sort of 5D chess battle in which all sort of stuff happens that we just don't even know about and may never even hear about. And that could be the case, but meanwhile, if that is the case, he is operating on the backs of all sort of people who are struggling, and I mean severely, tonight, last night, the night before that, the night before that. Just repeat that for weeks and weeks. You know what I'm saying? So if there was something good going behind the scenes, perhaps, yeah, that's possible. And it's hopeful. And I like it. It's kind of positive and stuff. Yeah, it's true. It's on the backs of people who are starving right now and more people that are going to starve in the future because we don't run on like fairy dust and stuff like that. Actually, there's a lot of people who produce a lot of things. And of course, everybody here on this channel knows that. But it's a weird conundrum that we're in right now, I suppose. Anyways, I gotta get up out of here, y'all. And I appreciate the crap out of y'all. All right, and I'll be back and stuff. I'm gonna put up some videos and stuff. I'm gonna do more on BitChute. We're gonna see about DLive, but the thing is, I can't get the chat box up, so probably be back here on the live streams. All right, I like Friday nights. But we'll see. I'll holler at y'all about it later. Thing is, like I said, hey, before we get out of here, I'll say this, right? Tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna upload a video. Okay, this is just so they all know. I do plan to have this out, and it is going to be hateful speech. All right, I wouldn't agree because I love everybody, to include the Chinese, especially the Chinese. All right. That's going to be out tomorrow, and I'll upload a video, I suppose, just a real brief one, to let you know that I'm about to go out, and then I'll go out, and if I supposedly get arrested, and I doubt it, to be honest with you, I honestly wish somebody would. I honestly wish they would, right? Because I'm going to comply, I'm going to do whatever it is, I'm going to lay face down on the ground and stuff, and they're just going to take me in, and I'm going to go with the greatest of ease, and you know what I'm saying, become a hero anyways, because you become a hero just by doing regular, normal ass stuff. These days, all you have to do is go to work and you become a hero when they arrest you for no good reason. So I wish you would. That's the thing about it. I wish they would, but they won't. I got a pretty good feel, say what you will about San Antonio police, I really doubt, and of course the surrounding areas, I doubt that they'll do a damn thing. Right? In fact, a lot of them probably have a smile on their face when they see it. Right? For all those resolutions and total public embarrassments done by the San Antonio City Council, international public embarrassments, for all those resolutions, it don't matter. That sign's going to go out tomorrow. All right? And if you don't see a video from me after that, well, you could rest assured that they snatched me up. All right, and then alert the presses and stuff like that, and then we all become heroes and stuff. We're the new heroes just by being normal. And I appreciate the heck out of y'all. It is May the 8th. I gotta get ready for work. I'm essential. You're essential. God bless you. Even if you don't like it, it's May the 8th, 2020, and I'll holler at y'all a little bit later.